Aiding and abetting terrorism on an official level. In Kazan, during the Russia-Islamic World Forum, a delegation of the Taliban was welcomed with open arms. Russian officials said that since, quote, the US and NATO ran away from the region, trade with Afghanistan grew significantly. Guests from Kabul were triumphant. Relations between two countries have turned over a new leaf. At the same time, ironically, the Taliban is considered a terrorist organization in Russia. Journalist Nadezhda Keverkova has been arrested on charges of terrorism justification. A piece of evidence against her was a mere mention of the Taliban in a social media post. The official Moscow, naturally, prefers to close its eyes on such blatant hypocrisy. More on the Russian regime's terrorist allies' visit to Kazan in a report by Mikhail Shevelov. The Russia-Islamic World Forum, a week-long economic conference that boasts such international guests as Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Iran, Qatar, Turkey, and Uganda. They are all greeted by the head of Tatarstan, Rustam Minikhanov.
I am sure that positive cooperation between Russia and the Islamic world will have an important impact on safe development in a fair multipolar world.
The main guests of the conference are delegates from Afghanistan. The Taliban's visit garnered a lot of attention even before their plane landed in Kazan. The region was attacked by drones on the morning of May 15th, so the airspace was temporarily closed. The Telegram resource Baza reported that the Taliban's flight was delayed in Moscow and that they made it to the forum in the nick of time.
Let's not talk about what happened in the past. We are happy that today the relations between Afghanistan and Russia were revitalized with the help of the Muslim region of Tatarstan.
The Minister of Commerce and Industry's speech symbolized a new chapter in the relations between two nations. Nuruddin Azizi called upon Russian companies to invest in the Afghani economy. According to him, the country is abundant in copper, lithium, and mineral resources. They can and should be mined. Kabul, in turn, has plans on expanding its presence in Russia.
If there is opportunity, we would like to open our business center in Moscow. This will benefit both states and improve trade relations.
The Russian side was reciprocal to the friendly tone said by the Taliban. The head of the Russian business center in Afghanistan, Rustam Habibulin, told of rapidly increasing trade between Moscow and Kabul.
The trade turnover between Russia and Afghanistan is growing rapidly. If in 2022 it was about $170 million, then now it surpassed $1 billion. This was made possible by the US and NATO running away from the region, whereas their former presence stood in the way of strengthening of economic and political ties between our two countries.
Russia's relations with the Taliban since March of 2022, when the Afghani diplomat was accredited by the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the minister himself explained it by commending the new administration in Afghanistan for keeping the government afloat. Soon after, a Taliban delegation paid a visit to the St. Petersburg Economic Forum. Russian top officials do not hide the fact that they are in contact with the Talibs and, as it stands, support their terrorism.
Western, first and foremost American and British intelligence agencies are bolstering anti-Taliban forces, directing them to target the border areas of some of our countries. We understand the risks and threats that this situation poses, which is why we are in constant contact with the heads of the Taliban.
It is our stance that establishing a working relationship with the Taliban as the dominating political force in Afghanistan is in the best security and economic interests of the region, as well as achieving peace inside Afghanistan, which we constantly incentivize the current government and Kabul to do.
The Taliban was declared a terrorist organization in Russia all the way back in 2003. However, as of late, Russian officials prefer to keep silent regarding the legal status of their Afghani allies. The state-owned news agency RIA Novosti uses the following moniker: the Taliban movement is under UN sanctions for terrorism activity.
I think the level of bureaucratization of the Russian government does not yet allow them to exclude the Taliban from their list of terrorist organizations. However, it appears to be only a matter of time. Although lately, representatives of the Taliban are welcome guests in Russia, just as Russian representatives are welcome in Afghanistan. The groundwork has been laid.
Last week in Moscow, authorities arrested journalist Nadezhda Keverkova. She has been sent to a detention center on charges of terrorism justification. Handcuffed and under escort, Keverkova left the courtroom, where she appeared because of a social media post that mentioned the Taliban.